alaikum and a very warm welcome to PTV World. Tonight we are celebrating something very special. Yes, we are celebrating Chand Raat special show. I'm your host Maheen Jaffri.
Joining Maheen Jaffri, I'm Shehzad. Maheen rightly said, when we talk about Chand Raat, celebrations, then one thing that pops up in our mind is the Eid al-Fitr, the preparation for Eid al-Fitr, because of course it's the eve of Eid al-Fitr.
Exactly. And Shehzad, one thing I'd like to add, the most exciting moment is when you're observing that last fast and when you're waiting for the Ruate Hilal Committee's verdict that, is there going to be Eid tomorrow or not. So that is one of the most exciting part of the, Chand Raat. So how do we all celebrate it? That depends, and mostly it is said that this Eid is more about females, about their clothes, about bangles, I
was about to say that actually, that, men, they just wear shalwar kameez and they probably put a waistcoat on it and they're ready.
It's very simple and it's really, it's really comfortable, because even when I have to come here, I have to, get ready and, do all my hair and makeup and all.
Right.
So tonight we have got amazing guests in our show, and we'd be introducing them all to you one by one, and we'd want to know how they celebrate their Chand Raat. So right now we are having amazing guests, and we are very lucky to be joined by Mr. Azfar Jaffri, a renowned film director, screenwriter, actor, visual effect artist. Welcome to PTV World, sir.
Thank you so much.
And happy Chand Raat.
Happy Chand Raat to you as well.
Now, in addition to that, we've been joined by Ma'am Fizzah Mushtaq, who is educationist and section headmistress of A-level. Thanks a lot for being with us tonight.
My pleasure.
Now, when we talk about Chand Raat, Mr. Afsar, of course, we would like to know, first of all, that what's your way of celebrating Chand Raat?
What I think you just mentioned is mostly female-centric. That's what we go through at home as well. It's usually, I have kids, so they enjoy, they have more fun than I do. But yeah, I enjoy watching them having fun.
But you know what? You just pointed out about the kids, I remember when I was a kid, not too long ago, but but when I was a kid, I remember that Chand Raat had its own charm, I don't know, and I'm going to switch that question to Ma'am Fizzah real quick, because she's been dealing with a lot of kids, that's her profession. But when we talk about, the Chand Raat, our celebrations were a bit different, because I remember, yes, there were Eid cards, handwritten Eid cards. In addition to that, there were Chand Raat cards as well that I remember.
Used to be so precious.
Exactly, and I used to do them. So, ma'am, please share your views regarding the celebration of Chand Raat compared to what we have done, or compared to our current generation.
I still remember as a child, we would start planning our Eid way before Eid, way before Chand Raat. We would call our relatives, where are they going to be, whether they're going to come to us or whether we'll be going to them, what's the menu going to be, what is the dadi's liking, what is the nani's liking, what is the chacha's liking, and then, everyone is putting a bit of their own choice on the table at the end of the day. And very rightly said, we would dispatch Eid cards way before Eid. And it used to be, an occasion. 15 or 20 days before Eid, the markets would be, flooded with Eid card stalls, and, there would be Eid cards everywhere. And then you would make a list, and, you would make sure that you would post them, and, then at the end, if someone is missed, you had to deal with it on Eid as well. Yes, it was very different for us, for our generation. But now kids are very different in terms of celebrating their successes, in terms of celebrating their events, in terms of even dealing with their relationships, in terms of communication. I deal with A-level students aging from age 18, 17 to 20, 21 sometimes, but they have a different way. But I respect it. Once we were young, what kind of anxieties or pressures we had? I mean, the only pressure we had was that we had to have good grades. The father has to go through our report card at the end of the year, and then, we have to score good. Yes, it had to be a good one.
Probably with a bacon or a steak as well.
Yes. So it had to be a very good one, because that was the only pressure we had. If there was a Cold War going on, or if there was an Iraq or Iran war going on, it was going on somewhere else in the world, right?
Yes.
So we would just hear it on the PTV news in a very disciplined, in a beautiful way conveyed, in a very calm way conveyed. And you would not feel that anxiety.
Even right now.
Even right now.
Yeah.
I agree, even right now.
Right.
But you know, I respect this generation because they've gone through a lot. As a child, they've been through the terrorism period, right? They've gone through the earthquake. They've gone through all the calamities that had happened throughout the globe. So whatever is happening anywhere in the world, it affects them.
Exactly.
So it's not that they don't want to celebrate. I think they want to celebrate, but we need to find out a way to make them understand that, you know, they need to find happiness in small little bits as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Maheen, I was actually thinking about something while Ma'am Fizzah was just sharing her views. You know, another aspect here is the devices, the technology. Technology played vital role. You know, it changed the lives of mankind. An example is that, you know, our kids are more into devices. They are
I think now
limited.
they find their happiness more in devices than, you know, the little things that we try to indulge them in.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I actually would like to share something here. You know, it's not limited till kids. Actually, my parents are addicted to that
I was
too,
about
you
to
know.
say the same.
So is it a good thing or a bad thing?
This is what happened. So every time, you know, last night, for example, I went to, because it's my habit, you know, when I go to home, first I go to my parents' room and then say, you know, offer them salam,
yes.
and then I go afterwards somewhere else. So I've been noticing, you know, every time I go there, they both are on their devices, right? You know, and my parents are quite old now, and they have their headphones on, and then they'll just stare at you, and then they'll like walaikum salam, and then go back, and I'm standing there with my bag in my hand, and then so it's just not limited to. So I think just like you say, there was a lot of things which took place. In addition to that, I think technology has to play some role. Your thoughts on it?
I
sir?
totally agree with what you just said. I think we're all hooked to screens now,
Yeah.
and it is the internet age. Obviously, this is something which we have to do at the same time. We can't just, you know, take it away from
Right,
the kids
right.
because they need to be up to
Up to the
date.
mark.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, there should be a balance. There should be
Balance.
some sort of a routine that one should follow instead of just being hooked onto the screen.
Mr. Azfar.
And I'm honestly, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. I'm myself, I'm actually hooked onto the screen at
Yeah,
times,
me
and
too.
I'm like,
I
oh
mean,
my God,
yeah.
what am I doing? And then, you know, getting back to it. But please go.
Yeah, I was asking, is it a good or a bad thing? Because children nowadays, you know, are being taught in, I think, right when they're in the grade 3 or 2 or even 4, how to make posters. I know, I understand these are important things, but don't you think this is, you know, bringing more pressure into their mental capacity? Because they are, you know, they are being affected, like ma'am just said.
Yeah, I think they, you know, if they're enjoying something, creating, using an iPad or any other device for that matter, I think it's constructive. It's not. It's a waste if they're just, you know, watching videos and, you know, watching entertainment videos or gaming videos and stuff like that. But if, like, my son is into game development already, he's like 8, and he's always like into animations and making models
Lovely.
and stuff, which I didn't force him to do. He himself like
Creativity.
found
Must have been
inspiration
inspired by
in,
you.
yes,
By you,
maybe, I don't know, but
mashallah.
I never told him, okay, do this or that.
But
He
for the
just-
kids, parents are their role models.
I think he started from playing games and then watching YouTube videos, and then he decided, hey, I want to do this. Like,
the best
my daughter, I'm really glad she's into reading a lot. She, unlike me, my father reads a lot, my mother reads a lot. I did not read that much, but my daughter is very much into books. So we try, me and my wife, we both try and keep a balance for them in their lives.
That's the most important
But,
thing.
you know, at the same time, it is important as well.
And talking about balance, Mr. Azfar, you being so talented, you're being, you know, director, actor, screenwriter, visual effects artist. How do you manage, how do you balance, especially on occasions like this, you know, spending time with your family?
Well, I usually try and, you know, spend time with my family during these occasions, obviously, just because it's the rest of the year I'm actually busy with my work, with my films especially, you know, because it's like a full-time job. I'm hardly at home. And
Can't wait to talk about that.
yeah,
Please
that's
continue.
something that, you know, I just find it, it's people who get time on regular basis, like on daily basis, are privileged. I think, I personally think they are blessed. So whenever I find time, I try and spend it with my family during these occasions.
So please go on and tell us about the latest project that you're working on. Especially, we have heard a lot about your biggest project.
Exactly.
Shehzad.
Actually, I'm gonna just add something real quick, Maheen, here.
Sure.
I've seen a little bit of it, a little tiny chunk of it,
Okay.
and that thing was exceptional.
Breathtaking.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much.
So, would you be kind enough to shed some light how this idea came, and what's the central idea, how it started, and what was the thought behind it?
Okay. Yes.
And
let's
the most interesting thing should be, the journey through COVID. How did
Right.
you
Oh,
manage
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this started back in 2019 before COVID, and the day me and the producer, we decided that we have to do this. Let me just come to this point why we wanted to do this first. We realized that the current generation, the youth, is disconnected from our literature, from our culture especially. So we wanted to make something which kind of builds that bridge. So we thought, we looked at our literature, and one of them was a very famous and popular character, Umro Ayyar, and that's
Right.
where we decided, okay, we want to make something on that. So we started off, we came up with some ideas that we can make this story or that story, but as soon as we finalized the story and we were ready to go into production, COVID hit. And that's where we were very blessed and lucky to have a lot of support from the DC, Islamabad as well, who supported us in this and gave us permission to shoot in certain premises, and obviously with very strict conditions. But we went through it without a single case. That was also a blessing in disguise. We went through it smoothly. And then by the end of it, when we had the edit and we had the final, you can say, the final piece, the last phase that we had in our hands, we were going we had a lot of VFX involved in this film. So we were already planning to take it abroad to some studios. But that's where we thought, we've come so far, we've done everything ourselves, we are able to pull this off ourselves. Why not take it all the way? And that's where we decided, okay, we want to do it, the VFX part here as well.
Wow.
But
That's
at the
good.
same time, come at par with Hollywood, and
Amazing.
nothing less. So that's where we decided, okay, we want to establish a studio over here which offers VFX services everywhere to everyone. And so we started hiring, and so now, what I think the glimpses that you saw, the clips that you saw,
They were
are
total
from
Hollywood.
Yeah.
I don't know, you can tell.
No, I can tell.
We
It's
tried our
honestly-
best to make it happen, and the reason was that we wanted to meet that bar because of our youth, because they are focused more towards Hollywood stuff, and we want to offer them stuff that is at par.
Exactly.
And I think so far we've achieved that, and we'll
so
continue doing that.
beautifully.
But as far as Umro Ayyar story, I don't know, people who don't know, I'll just tell them about the story. It's a story about a guy named Amar, who's a quantum physics professor, who discovers that he's destined to be part of an epic battle between good and evil.
Wow.
And in the process, he's the only one, he learns that he's the only one who can stop this jinn to from crossing over to Earth.
Right.
So that's obviously the one-liner that we have, but
Parallel dimension.
a lot of, from other dimensions. But a lot of our viewers probably from the previous, from the 1900s, who were born in that time, and I'm sure you guys already know about Umro Ayyar. But for those who don't know, Umro Ayyar is actually a character from a book called Dastane Amir Hamza, which is a collection of adventures of the legendary hero Amir Hamza from the 7th century.
Right.
So this character was just in that book, and
he had a zambil.
he had a zambil, yes,
Right.
and
Yes.
and
When
and
we still, use that term for a lady's bag, Umro Ayyar
Yes.
zambil.
yeah. There's a fun fact, a lot of Hollywood stuff, a lot of Western stuff is based on our Eastern literature.
Yeah.
A lot of elements that we've seen in their films and stories and their books is coming from our literature. Like for example, Hermione's bag, that beaded bag from Harry Potter,
Harry Potter.
is actually the zambil.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
So, Azfar, why is this trend so less in Pakistan? Like you being, the pioneer in this, and there was one animated series, I don't remember the name, but it had a character Baba Bandook or something. I think Burqa Avengers.
Burqa Avengers.
Yeah, and I totally, because there was a time when it stopped happening, and there's so much happening in our eastern neighbors. There's so much stuff for people and children especially. They're teaching them history through these visuals. So why is it that this trend is so less? Now, you being the pioneer, please let all the youngsters know what should they do, coming in this field. And
well, I would take this opportunity to obviously mention Azhar Khan, who is actually the pioneer of making the very first animated film in a gaming engine called Unreal. And that was Ayyar and the Legend of Markhor. And that was released in, I think, 2018, and I was also part of that team.
Yes,
He directed and produced that film, and I played a small character in that called Hero. He's
Really?
a Pakistani.
voiceover?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did
wow.
that. He's a Chakor. His name is Hero. The character's name is Hero. He's not the hero.
Can
of the
you
film,
say
but-
something like a one line
Oh
in
yeah,
that?
yeah, I can. So
That's lovely.
Awesome.
And the good thing is, very soon in summers, good news for kids, because Ayyar and the 100 Flowers of God, their second installment is going to be releasing.
Oh,
good.
that is
That's
indeed
great.
a good news.
And it is super amazing, better than the first one, especially the ones who've seen the first one, they're gonna love it.
Right. Ma'am Fizzah, let me ask you something real quick. After just mentioned about the youth.
Yeah.
Of course, our primary focus should be our youth, and that's a wonderful gesture. There's a wonderful initiative that
Yes.
they have
Indeed.
taken, because their primary focus is youth in this particular project that we're talking about here. There is always a generation gap,
Yes.
and when I was younger, I'm still young, but when I was younger, I had in my mind that, I would eliminate this gap between myself and my kids, and I have tried, I'm trying my best, but I think that it's still there.
I think our generation has come a long way, for bridging that gap. Once I'm dealing with students, I come across parents who are very friendly. The fathers are super friendly, and most of the times the mothers are the kind of Hitlers that we had, the fathers in at our homes. So things are changing, times are changing, but it's not only our culture and our family construct is built in such a way that there are few restraints, there are few barriers that need to be crossed, and at the end sometimes the mom says, he is the father, he has to be a father. I mean, how can he not be a father? If he's not a father, nobody is going to listen. Whereas I see that, I have observed that students sometimes portray that, or they pretend that they're not, they're very carefree. But once you give them some responsibility, they do wonders. The average kind of student comes up with an idea, or he manages or she manages a whole program, a big event, in such a disciplined and orderly manner, and yes, while using the same technology, the same social media. And rightly said, as Sarah said, these technologies are very important. My kids are even earning online. They are A-level students and they're earning online.
That's wonderful.
So we get the posters made by them. We get the the marketing done by them. So yes, that that gap is bridging, but I think it will take some time because of our some cultural constraints as well.
Like when we'll
and
be
religious
grandparents.
constraints as well.
Like when we will be grandparents.
Right. Well, you just talking about earning. Actually, it happened yesterday. My younger son, who's 6 years, who's in the 6th grade, he came to me. He said, "You know what, Dad? I'm thinking about getting a PlayStation 5." I said, "Well, you wish, buddy, because I'm not buying you one. You have this one, and you just gotta roll with this one." He said, "You know what? There is a plan." I asked him, what's your plan? He said that I can sell some of the stuff and then earn enough.
Kids are very
I
smart.
said, okay, well, and then, you know, obviously my fatherly thing that just kicked in.
That
and
instinct.
I'm like, is he doing something, you know, that I'm not aware of?
Yeah.
So I asked him in detail, because I'm usually very busy. I barely, you know, speak with them, unfortunately. So I said, you know, what is in your mind? And then he brought a whole bunch of Pokemon cards, right?
Yeah.
And he opened the website and, you know, the tab thing that he was holding in his hand. And he said, you know, I can sell these. And then I'm like, wonderful. Tell me how much you can earn from this, you know. So it's just like you said, you know, that there are so much opportunities. But we, I think, as parents, we need to come out of the box.
I think this gap will be filled through communication.
Right.
You know, once students come to the college, they talk so much. And, you know, once the parents meet us, they say, he's always there in the room, he's always on his phone, or she's always on the phone.
Exactly.
And we are amazed, yeah, he's so talkative. How can he be so quiet at home? Because he's not quiet. He's talking and he's communicating on social media. He's communicating with his friends through social media. And once he's coming to the college, he's talking face to face. And sometimes we say, have to say, beta, you know, just calm down. Okay, I'll, you know, we'll have another sitting, or, you know, you can come to me after this time. But I think communication is the key.
Absolutely.
Communication is the key.
Absolutely. We're talking about the youth, with, of course, ma'am Fizzah. So could you please shed some light on the
Communication,
the importance, the communication, and of course the importance of various programs which are being offered right now. And I know the Cambridge is one of them. Could you please shed some light?
I would love to. You know, education in Pakistan needs to, you know, it needs to be improved, you know, at such a pace that our youth can, you know, benefit from it. Because, you know, once I was dealing with matriculation stream, and then I shifted to a Cambridge system, I was amazed. You know, in Cambridge system, they focus on differentiated learning. You know, what they say is that every child is gifted. You know, some kids are audio learners, some are visual, some are kinesthetic. So there are different types of learners. You need to be you have to come to their level to make them understand a thing. You know, as we say that God has made us ashraful makhluqat, but you know, the West is following it. They totally believe that every child is blessed and is gifted. Whereas in our culture, in our educational system, I think the one who is gifted has more challenges.
Right.
You know, and every child can, you know, can benefit from this educational system, or he can get through the universities. But a child who is brainy, who has some intellect, who is creative, there are restrictions and constraints in his way or her way.
Absolutely.
So once we come across, you know, different entry tests, MDCATs, all the challenges are for all those, you know, who are very much blessed and gifted and intelligent. But then, how do we measure intelligence? That is very important. We measure intelligence through rote learning.
Right.
You know, you rote learn and you produce everything on a piece of paper, right? Whereas the other systems, not only Cambridge, other systems, they measure and gauge their education and knowledge by giving them lifelong skills, you know, by giving them analytical skills, by giving them, you know, skills how to communicate, you know, by giving them skills about problem solvings. So, you know, these are lifelong skills, and they take a child a long way.
I think it's something that parents lack. If my son, okay, when I was 17 years old, I know for sure that I was in the United States, I was in high school, and I was working.
Yes.
It's not, did I have to work? No, I didn't have to work. But it was something that I chose to because that's how I learned, right? So from the 17 years of age, I've been earning, right? And my son, he will be 18 very soon now, but he hasn't worked yet. So I was just talking to him the other day. I said, you know what, if you go back to States, you make sure, I don't care that, you know, you have scholarship or anything or whatever, you work. That's something that we do not encourage in Pakistan.
Yes.
Parents do not. Okay, what if my son is working in a grocery store as a stalker? Does it harm anyone? No. That's how they learn.
I think I would add another point about earning. It's not always, earning money, right? Skills. But then there's another point very relevant to this. We have to learn. We have to make our kids understand that they have to earn something. They have to earn it. Getting the point? Once you were just mentioning that your child was asking about the PlayStation, right?
Right.
And you rightly said so that you can have it if you can afford it, right?
Right.
So this is the kind of mindset that we need to have. I come across parents whose kids are, in grade 2, in grade 1, they're having the latest iPhones in their hands. They're doing nothing. Parents are complaining that the child is not studying, or he's not doing otherwise anything. But then all the perks and privileges, the car, he's been bought the latest car, or he's been bought the latest PlayStation version, or he's been bought the latest iPhone version. I mean, kids need to learn how to earn.
I think this,
yes, please.
I'm sorry.
Please.
I'd just like to add. I think this is a time where, it's not. The times have changed, and I think kids these days, they should be given the options to choose their future and their professions themselves.
Absolutely.
And they should be given everything on the in front of them, displayed. Okay, these are the options. Now you pick, you decide what you enjoy doing.
And then you will be responsible for the consequences or for the decision that you're making.
And that's how you learn. And I totally agree that they should go out, do the job, whatever kind of job. If they're enjoying it, let them be and let them enjoy. We shouldn't be telling them be a doctor, become a doctor or an animator.
Those days are gone, I think.
Those days are gone.
But sir, I'm sorry I'm cutting you short, but the dilemma is that we don't even tell our kids what we are offering in Pakistan.
True.
Once I'm counting students in college, I tell them, beta, if you take up bio, what do you think you're going to be? They give me 3 or 4, fields. They say, I'm going to do MBBS, I'm going to do BDS, I'm going to do Pharma D, right? I'm going to be a vet, right? But do you know that there are over 70 fields are being offered in Pakistan if you only study bio? There's so much opportunity in Pakistan as well.
So the vacuum comes when we talk about career counseling, because nobody's telling them anything.
There is a vacuum. Kids are smart. Once they come to us, some of them they already know. They've done their homework very well.
I'm sure that you're going to appreciate the fact that as filmmakers, me, my producers, us at VR Chile especially, we are trying our best to work on films which kind of educate our youth as well, and bring them closer to our literature, our culture, and give them these options that you're suggesting. They should know what's out there and what they can do. Like, for example, our current film is actually about believing in the fact that everyone, you just mentioned that every kid has a power inside of that.
Right.
He can be the one.
And
ability.
Yes, and he just needs to find out what that is. And once he finds it, he's through. He is then the superhero. And that's what we are trying to show in our film as well.
Mr. Azfar, I have a quick question from you. When we talk about your industry, a lot of veteran directors or producers, or a lot of folks from this industry, they always have one complaint. I should say that there are so many challenges in this field. Would you be kind enough to shed some light on some of the prime challenges that you have faced?
I mean, they're like,
where should you start from?
Where can I start from?
Because we already talked about COVID. That was something that just
But no, that was like force majeure.
I'm just
starting
talking
from
about
the very basic thing that
I think the very first thing that we lack is the infrastructure, and because obviously there was a huge gap in our film industry in the previous century. So we can't be at par with the rest of the world that easily, but we're getting there and we're very close. All we need is systems to be placed. Just like every other field, you need to just make sure that you have an infrastructure, proper plan, proper studios, proper proper
even the institutions
as well, teaching the I mean I am looking for VFX artists these days. I'm like I hardly find anyone. I'm actually training people in my studio to give us what we want. Now, it's something that we have to work with. I don't blame anyone for this. I've worked on 5 films before this one, and I've learned from those. I'm a telecom engineer. I haven't studied filmmaking, so I'm learning on the go. And I personally think that it's all about we do guerrilla filmmaking over here in Pakistan, and I salute each and every filmmaker in Pakistan who makes whatever, no matter what quality it is. I think as the audiences, actually, our audience needs to go out, watch their films, and give feedback.
Exactly.
Don't just say, oh, that was crap or that was bad or whatever, they don't know how to make them. Give constructive feedback. This is what we liked about the film, this is what we didn't like, and next time please try doing this. People will eventually get better, and the infrastructure will come into place on its own automatically, because we can see nobody else is doing it. We have to do it ourselves. This community has to work together and to develop that. That's the only biggest hurdle that I think everybody goes through. We don't have that, here infrastructure.
And coming to a very light question, Shehzad was talking about grocery store, and I was thinking about food in my mind. So what is your favorite food on Eid, Azfar?
Oh, I like samaiya. Obviously,
is there something special that you eat and you think very intellectually, and you're killing monsters in your brain and something like that?
Not really. I just enjoy food. When after a whole month of Ramzan,
exactly.
anything that comes in my reach,
anything will work.
Anything will.
So the Eid day is that day when you can go all out.
That's funny that I say that, but at the same time I end up eating nothing, because it's just you're just used to not eating anything, and then you're like, okay, I've had enough, and then.
Yeah, I think, and that's how the physicians, the doctors, they say that your stomach gets shrunk as well, so it doesn't take too much.
But it
food.
happens the opposite way in Pakistan.
This is actually
because of the fried stuff.
Pakoras and iftar, maybe.
Yes,
exactly. And believe it
so
or
everybody has gained at least 5 pounds.
Believe it or not, I gained 5 to 6 kg only in Ramzan.
Yeah, true. It's because of the fried stuff.
Should we be proud of ourselves?
Yeah, we should.
Because one, I mean, you cannot, do your exercise or your workout, just like you do on the other months besides Ramzan, because obviously you're fasting, and then after the iftari time, you don't have sufficient time to go.
The sole reason I think is the lack or the break of the sleep cycle that we're all in.
Yes, but I think food-wise, I think we should look after ourselves more, because I think there's so much preservatives and stuff added to these frozen things that we use on daily basis.
Especially our kids.
And we are feeding it to our kids, and we're shortening our lifespans ourselves.
Exactly. And there's so many diseases. You were talking about kids and diseases. Now we see so many kidney diseases to many youngsters. And the things that we are feeding our kids. That's a proper research that they have elements that can cause, certain kind of diseases that can be very fatal.
Yes.
So these are also very important things, and if you can do something about that as well.
I would love to. I would love to. It's just that I'm afraid these giants are gonna just. They're gonna just corner me.
Of course, such ki ladai hogi.
मैं गायब हो जाऊंगा.
Ma'am, what about you? What's your favorite food, and are you a good cook?
Oh. It's a very interesting story behind it. Once I got married, I didn't know how to cook.
Wow.
I didn't know, and because I was very young. I've completed my studies, and it's a long journey till now.
Right.
Now, so I didn't know, but now, mashallah, sir was just mentioning savaiya, so I was just like, as a male, I think that is the first thing that comes to your mind. And as female, I was thinking, okay, maybe pulao and, the naan and, the kofte and the nargasi koftas and, all those, the kormas and, yes. Over time, once you have kids and, once you have your own family, you learn to cook.
Exactly.
Right. Absolutely. I'm going to
keep
cut you off real quick
meat
here.
dishes for the big Eid.
And we are foodies, we are basically from Lahore, so, everyone wants to eat. And they want to have good food.
So, I'm going to cut you off real quick because it's time for a little break. We'll be right back after this short break. Well, folks, welcome back.
And we've had amazing guests as well before the break. And right now we are having Miss Ambreen, and she's running her beauty salon very successfully. How are you, ma'am? And how do you celebrate Chand Raat? The first question.
I'm good, alhamdulillah. Thank you for calling me here. And Chand Raat is a festival, just like, is a special festival, I must say. Being salon owner and in salons, there's a lot of females are there, and we just apply mehndi and like just you can say that whole night spends in salon.
Yeah, because when we talk about busy Chand Raat, we're talking about markets and stalls and mehndi stalls especially. And the busiest place and the most crowded is, I think, the salons.
Salons,
so how do you manage
mehndi stalls, basically? Mehndi stalls. Yeah.
How do you manage all that with a smile on your face?
It's really difficult, honestly, especially in Ramadan. You have to
You're
fast
fasting,
as well, and all the time I'm tired.
Yes, exactly.
That's true. But smile is part of our job. We can't, act like being rude, and
Yes,
it's
exactly.
part of life.
Running a
It's our business. We have to receive our customers with smile. This is part of our job, so I do that.
Talking about the dealing with the obviously clients, it's the customer service is always, it could be sometimes very challenging.
Yeah,
when you
it
deal
is.
with various kinds of people. They have their own ways of expressing themselves, and of course, now, how do you cope with the situations? Or if you could please highlight any situation which is probably funny in your career, where you came across in a situation, that's you cannot ever forget it.
There are many situations because we have to deal with ladies, and I must.
That's a big statement.
No, we have mood swings. I am also part of that league. No, I do have mood swings. Right. So when we are dealing with them. But by default, I have very, I'm a patient person. I have a lot of patience. So I deal
you guys
with.
need to be patient.
Yeah. Yeah. This is psychological.
Right.
I think saying you have to deal ladies with special patience. So it's part of again. I must say it's a part of job. We have to listen to them, and obviously when some hyper client come to our salons, so we have to deal with them. Special attention. We just give them special attention, care, and
you use all the psychological tricks.
yeah, obviously.
And one of the most challenging aspects in your work,
Line of
that
work.
when you work in these salons or in the, what's the most challenging thing that actually bothers you and doesn't let you move forward with a soothing pace or smooth pace?
Balance between family and business. It's been very tough, but alhamdulillah I am doing it, and yeah.
In all fields,
In all fields, definitely.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
absolutely.
saying. Yeah.
My strong, belief is that, and once again, there are pros and cons of every place.
Yes, that's true.
I have lived half of my life in the United States, and then I came back here in 2019. Right?
Okay.
There are a lot of people who turn around and they call me an idiot, and it's true. But I feel that I made the right choice.
But I disagree with you a little bit.
Yeah, please.
A little bit, because according to me, if you're working abroad or in these countries, you will get your reward. But in Pakistan,
I
you
totally
are
agree.
if you're working for 24 hours, it depends on your luck. You're getting it or you're not getting it. So that is the main factor. You are not getting paid by your work. You're getting paid by chance, by luck. This is uncertainty,
Right.
So.
Ma'am Fizzah, Ambreen just mentioned patience. Patience is one of the key elements in the society right now, and we are unfortunately lacking. A perfect example is that even if you are driving on, and as for if you are driving on the street, or when we drive our cars, I remember when I started learning the driving, if you give way to any driver, any other driver, if you let him or her pass by, usually they used to raise their hand and appreciate your gesture.
Yes.
It's almost vanished right now. I mean, if you even, it's my habit. I mean, it's eliminating rapidly because, in Western world, you always give way to other people, So now it's, I'm getting rid of that good habit because I'm getting used to of here. But then the only thing that bothers me, that patience, lack of patience in all aspects. When we talk about youth, You deal with the youth.
Yeah.
What are the key objects here? What are the reasons that we are lacking patience? Okay, I understand the adults, they are going through, just like Ambreen said, there are so many challenges right now. One of the challenges is global inflation and so much going on right now, all over the world. What do you think about the youth? Why they are so impatient? So yes, I understand they are youngsters, and till some extent they have to be impatient. But what can we do in order for them to understand the way how we should move forward?
I think I would not say that they are impatient. Because as an educationist, I strongly believe that we are always pointing fingers at them. We need to sort our things out as well. I'll just give you an example of being impatient myself, or a lack of attention maybe. I'll just give you one example. We started off with this social media, and this media took over through the movies and the Netflix and the documentaries. We started off with 3 hours of movie, right? Then it came down to 1 hour 30 minutes, right? And then we started off with YouTube videos, which is 30 minutes or 30. Then we started forwarding it. I myself do it. I would not like to see a 30-minute movie, I would rather forward it.
Right.
And now we have gone to shorts, the small shorts.
Exactly.
So it's not, whatever is happening globally, it's not only affecting us adults who have had the best of childhood, the most peaceful childhood, right? It is affecting the kids as well, because they have a whole life ahead of them. So once they're looking at the challenges nationwide, in terms of inflation, in terms of the barricades, in terms of the constraints a person faces once they come up with some idea or they start off with something. Even if you're on a job, there are challenges. It's not only the business. I think it's a cutthroat market, right? So I think what we need to do is that we need to be more focused on our small little routines. For example, sitting together for 5 minutes, maybe offering prayers. It's something that it's very different. But it is very important. I have tried it with in my family as well. If someone is restless, if they are being impatient, I just tell them to offer 2 nafal. Just do it better. It's okay. Even if you don't want to, just do wudu. Right? So I think we need to put some discipline in our lives as well before we expect our kids to be more patient.
Right.
Once I myself, you're so very true, you're so very right. Once we are driving, I am being impatient. Why is he honking? Why he's overtaking like this? Why the pedestrian is crossing the road like this? Why the bridge is here? We are always complaining. We are complaining as a nation. We complain.
Right.
That's true.
So this is very frustrating for kids as well.
Yes,
I
it happens especially right before Iftari. People are just getting
Oof.
crazy.
Especially if the driver is female, everybody was looking at her as if she knows.
I think as a nation, I think what we need aside from education, obviously good education, is grooming.
Yes.
And we need to focus on
the
tolerance and these things that that comes from our parents' values as well. So I think you being patient is not just you; it's actually coming from your family that you've learned. And yes, you've spent time there abroad, and you've made
it has
made
a
it
lot
a habit,
to do
but
with the
it
way
has a
you
lot
are
to do
raised.
with where you come from.
Right.
And I think what we're just missing that connection with our roots.
Yes.
And we're just going crazy. We're frustrated with the way news is coming at us, and halat kharab and all that, stuff like that. We need to just make sure that we calm down.
Azfar, this is such an important point that you just mentioned. It is often said that while you're eating, you should not even put on TV because you're getting distressing news, and that could impact your digestion.
Yes.
And that could impact your breathing pattern.
Yes.
And that is what creates the kind of things that Shehzad was just mentioning. Intolerance, being impatient. So these are the key things and key elements that we need to take care of.
This is all connected, Nasser. It's all about leading through example.
Right. Right.
You know, we're not sitting together as a family anymore.
That's
The
right.
father, you know, I go to a restaurant, I see every table, every person is on his or her own mobile. Nobody
Yeah, I
is
just
talking
told
to
you,
each
I
other.
went to my parents' room and they just looked
Yes,
at me and they were
yes.
like, "Get out of here, man! Why are you bothering us?" You know.
Right.
Amreen, a quick question from you. You know, you are an entrepreneur and also a mother.
Yeah.
You know, how do you see our youth being? Because to me, I think they are a little bit impatient. I understand that Ma'am Fizzah doesn't agree with me, but to me, I think they are a little bit impatient. Do you think something needs to be done from our side to make sure that they will go with the flow, the right flow?
Actually, I believe we have to cut their screen timings because
Just like you said.
yeah, they are using mobiles a lot. Everything is on computer, you know. Even
Right.
schools
Yes,
have given their
devices.
assignments. They are all the time. They are
Exactly.
busy
Yes.
on laptop.
Yes.
If they are not doing their assignments, they are watching the videos. So, being mother, I try to cut their screen times, and I have made a rule which I try to implement mostly if I am home, that don't use mobiles while sitting on dining table. You know, because it's not. I have seen mothers, they are feeding their child while holding mobile, you know, and
Yeah.
that is very alarming, and it's not advisable at all, because kid will get irritated, and
Lack
will,
of attention.
yeah, these things will affect his or her memory as well, and they become impatient because of this, because if they are doing any, you know, they are playing any game, especially there are few games or on internet and all these what
Right.
yeah, mobiles, they become very they make kids very hyper. So I have honestly I have deleted that game from their laptop just because of their tantrums and
Right,
their
right.
increasing. I try to do that, but obviously it's not that easy. You know, not all the time I'm home, not all the time kids will obey
Yeah,
me.
you can't babysit them all
They
the
do
time.
have mood swings, and you are right, I agree
they're
with
not
you,
women.
they are impatient with
Just women.
sorry.
No, please.
They are not very you know, patient. They have a problem.
ध्यान में दिल को लगा लिया.
Ma'am Fizzah, Amreen just mentioned about, you know, something, and a question that just raised in my mind regarding the handwriting. Handwriting is no longer in our, you know, schools. I
Yes.
mean, the way we used to write,
Yeah,
you know, I remember, you know, we had to write almost everything. So how does it work now? I mean, the kids, they don't even know how to write properly, I
Yes.
think.
Especially Urdu.
Yes.
Even English too.
Even
Everything is on the
Right,
They
devices.
are weak in Urdu, honestly speaking.
You know, with each passing decade, things change. For kids now, it's not only us. Globally, they're coming up for, you know, they're going for online typing. My daughter is studying at University of London law, and she's going to have, you know, papers online. So, you know, once you sit in for Cambridge, your writing doesn't matter what kind of writing you've done. Is it, you know, readable or not? Because it's a global phenomena. So I think we need to change with our passage of time, with times. But I strongly believe that, you know, writing should be one of the major factors on which we must put our emphasis in schools, especially at primary level, because that is somewhere, you know, where you make a child's foundation strong. He should at least need to know how to write, and, you know, the writing should be, you know, there should be a criteria that, you know, this is how you should write.
Plus, I think it's therapeutic.
Yes,
the
it
more
is.
you
And I
write,
think
it helps you.
It helps you the
And
more
it
you
is
write.
going to inculcate that patience that we were talking about.
Yes, yes. I think it needs to be done at from a very start, early age. But, you know, again, like you have just mentioned, that, you know, even schools are going online. They're giving assignments online which needs to be typed, you know. There are softwares that need to be used while, you know, doing those assignments. But I think at the primary level, we must keep emphasis on writing. I strongly agree with you that that is somewhere where we are lacking.
Right, we're
And
lacking.
especially, you know, in you know, big cities, in metropolis, in, you know, villages and in small towns, they still put emphasis on the writing. But I think in big metropolis, it's lacking.
Right.
Mr. Azfar, real quick, I'm going to ask you something. You see, when we talk about all these dramas and movies that we are watching in these days, compared to what we had, for example, PTV dramas, outstanding, wonderful. I mean, I don't see anything compared to what we have seen in our childhoods, the dramas.
Yes.
Probably, yes, the visuals were not as good, but the story
The
and
script,
the
dialogue.
script, the dialogue, the delivery,
plot.
and everything was phenomenal.
At that time, I think even the visuals were amazing. They were
Right,
like,
right.
they were at par.
Right, I mean,
There
not
was
compared to what we have right now, you know.
Yeah, obviously it's like it's the technology is advanced.
Yeah,
that's all.
technology, in terms of technology.
Yeah.
I see some dramas here, you know, sometimes whenever I could peek something, you know, real quick. There's always glamour. You know, there is something, you know, they are showing a car worth millions of dollars, millions of rupees, you know, which is parked outside a huge bungalow, you know. That's not an average life of Pakistani here, you know. And that glamour does not represent anything that you know, people are going through or people are facing each and every day. Do you think we should go back to and think about it? Somebody needs to sit down and think, you know, we need to come up with a story, not the glamour, not these fake or you know, all this these gadgets that people are holding in their hands and the kind of cars they are driving. What do you think?
I totally agree. I think that's the one of the reasons why we are so intolerant and we are frustrated, because we show these things to our audiences because they don't have it. And you show it to them because they're hooked, because they want to see, you know, and imagine themselves having all of that, which they don't or can't have because they're wasting time watching that. Instead, we should be focusing on instead of selling glamour, we should be selling ideologies and our values that our roots come from. Our morals especially. So I totally agree. I think those times, by the way, my favorite time was the teletheater time. During that time, I loved each and every you know, episode from that time.
That was in the night time, I think.
Yes, exactly. But at the same time, yes, the dramas like from the PTV time, they were like super amazing. We still talk about me and my wife. We still talk about those from back in the days, and nothing beats them. What we have right now, none of those can beat any of those dramas from that time.
Absolutely.
And I think it's because in that time we were more focused on you know, sharing the actual stories about people and their conflicts between them and all that. Right now we're talking about sensational you know, stuff.
For continuing your point,
Yeah.
you're talking about sensational and glamour elements. You see nowadays on TikTok, if you're going to be auditioning some actors, like, you're the right guy to talk about this. If you're going to be auditioning some people, we're going to, you know, just quickly pick up that girl, that guy from that viral video, you know, cast them in an advertising, maybe anything like job. And then those students who are actually learning acting, they get frustrated.
Yes, true. I think it's very important to you know, put this technology aside for a moment when it comes to, especially what you're talking about, auditions and all. Me and my producer were having this discussion as well, because we were discussing how can we make this automated, all of this procedure, because it does take a lot of time. We need to make this procedure a bit, you know, quicker.
Right.
So yes, these things, these apps, they work, and I've done a couple of auditions on these apps as well. But that was just the first phase. The second phase is to meet that person, because filmmaking or this media is all teamwork. Just looking at your acting and your performance is not enough for me. I need to know you as a person, whether we can work together as a unit, because it's teamwork. If we can't gel in, you know, as a team, it will come on the screen. It will show that there's no connection between these people. So yeah, I think again, yes, technology has been the villain, I think, throughout this time. But at the same time, it's equally important, like I said.
Right.
And so now we conclude our Chand Raat show. We've had amazing guests, we've had amazing time, and I hope you guys also enjoyed our Chand Raat show. Any quick messages before leaving?
Yeah, I think our film's marketing has just begun. We've recently released our poster a couple of days back, just Umro Ayyar's poster. So it is a bit sparse at the moment, but soon it will pick up and it will be widespread and unavoidable at one point. So just look just please look at and follow us on our pages and all that for social media and our accounts to keep yourself up to date.
Right. Good luck with that, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, a quick message to the parents: do sit with your kids, do talk to them, do communicate, put your mobiles aside. make sure your kids' mobiles are, are put aside, and have a very blessed Eid with your family and friends.
Thank you, ma'am.
Must say Eid Mubarak, everyone.
Right. No, absolutely.
Can I
Folks,
just, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
please,
cutting you off.
please.
Can I just add one more request?
Sure.
Just like ma'am requested. It is Eid, so have fun with your families. But my humble request is just please go out whenever you find time to go out for entertainment with your families. Go out. There are 5 films releasing this Eid. Go out,
Wow.
watch
Yeah.
whichever you like, you prefer, and then give feedback to the
Feedback.
filmmakers online, social media. So please
Right,
have fun.
Absolutely, just like Azfar said, that it's very important to spend time with the families. But folks, there is another aspect that we are going through right now. Is the global inflation and the recent devastated floods which hit Pakistan. We need to make sure that we actually remember those people when we are going to celebrate anything. We need to make sure that something needs to be done for those folks who have suffered tremendously last year in the devastated floods.
Exactly.
With this, we conclude today's Chand Raat show. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care of yourself.
Stay tuned and Chand Raat Mubarak.